Howdy, everybody. Thanks for coming. Appreciate the time. Happy New Year. Hope everyone had a great holiday. Everyone's doing safe. Everyone's taking care of themselves and doing all the right things. Appreciate you all showing up. As always, we'll give a few minutes for people to show up. Obviously, some news going on out there. The latest of which is, hey, Dominic. Hey, Scott. Hi, Will. I'll get to the question here in a minute. But we'll just kind of set the table. Got a few things going on here in terms of news as of today. Even Carson Wentz activated, and by activated, he's not cleared, right? So that's the key here. Saw it last week with Travis Kelce. He was activated as a procedural move, so he can be, if cleared, play. So look for Carson Wentz, though. All the reporting sounds like he will be cleared in time to play against the Raiders tomorrow. So got that going as far as Lamar Jackson is going to be an issue going into the game, whether it's he or Tyler Huntley. I'm not keen on the matchup. Antonio Gibson, a long shot to be cleared. Don't think he'll make it back. All the clearances have to come if they're going to play in a Sunday game by 4 p.m. Eastern time. So check the website. FootballDiehards.com is where I work. You should go there. It's a great website, I'm told, by myself. And others. Kirk Cousins out this week. Jimmy Garoppolo doubtful. Some players coming back this week. Dalvin Cook, Austin Eckler, Travis Kelce. Everyone should be doing well. DeAndre Swift, Dan Campbell threatening to unleash him. Miles Sanders out. Clyde Edwards-Helaire out. Some trickiness with the Buccaneers receiving core with both Mike Evans and Antonio Brown listed as questionable. That's worrisome. So a lot of things to work through, and we'll talk through them. As always, it's what I like to do. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'll tell you what I'll do. But, man, you need to make your decisions, right? You need to figure these things out. This is a very important week. Retweeting my tweet. Very important week for everybody. So I get it. So we'll take it all very seriously, working hard on the website. Check out Casey Joyner's sit-start injury report is available. There'll be a Sunday morning update. Check that. I'll have an injury video out a little later today after the fantasy show. So if you got the Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio, I'll be on there in a couple hours, and you can go through stuff. We'll have John Lobb, the scholar, will join us. So all kinds of things going on, kids. So let's jump in. And again, thanks, Dominic and Scott, for the Happy New Year greetings. It is a big week. And hello there, person with funny characters in their name that said something that didn't make sense. Gabriel Davis, Willpower, wants to know Van Jefferson or MVS in a half-point PR. He's sitting McLaurin. But I have one more wide receiver spot to fill. I do not blame you for sitting McLaurin. It's not been great, and I don't know if it's going to be great this week, right? It just hasn't been. You got to – there comes a point, and I think this is interesting, and it's good on you, Will. I mean, you got to divorce the name from the numbers, right? We drafted Terry McLaurin for a reason. We're not getting the thing we drafted right now. I think some of these other assets, Gabriel Davis, Van Jefferson, or MVS, I probably like them in that order. But I will say, Van Jefferson, the Rams have a super great matchup, right? I mean, we saw – 500 yards passing against them last week. The week before, Aaron Rodgers lit him up too, so a lot going on. Hi, Andrea. So it's a really good matchup. I wouldn't blame you there, but also a really good matchup for the Jaguars, right, or for the Buffalo Bills. So I'm probably going to lean in, like I said, the order you like them. MVS coming off the COVID list as well. So if you were worried about Gabriel Davis and MVS having, coming off the COVID list, because we've seen players coming off not get off the blistering starts, said last week's Tyreek Hill. 2 catches. I mean, kind of Tyreek Hill, to me, it's kind of built in, though, right? It's a little boom bust as is. But, we've heard some. While he was absent with the COVID. So what we don't know, the missing piece of this puzzle is we don't know how bad their symptoms are or if they're having issues, right? We just don't hear that information until after the fact, it seems. So if that's a concern, I'd be fine playing Van Jefferson. Would prefer to play probably Gabriel Davis myself. Chris Malone, standard scoring, T. Higgins or Eli Mitchell. So what is the kickoff times on those? That's going to be the determining factor for me. I think the Chiefs are an early afternoon kickoff, right? So that's going to be the Chiefs and Bengals. So I think Elijah Mitchell's going to play. I would love to play him in this matchup, but if I don't have a fallback, I'm probably going to play T. Higgins, who I think it's a good game. I'd much rather play Elijah Mitchell, right? So some of these things are based on your level of risk tolerance. This is an all-important game. Do you go into that game playing a questionable guy without a fallback in the late afternoon window or the Sunday night window or the Monday night window? I'd be reluctant to do that given the importance of this game. So if you don't have that, play T. Higgins. If you do have that and it's a viable fallback, right? Because I do think Elijah Mitchell's going to play. It sounds like he's heading that direction. So, but that's the sticking point, Chris. And some of these things are you questions, right? There's things that I would do that maybe you would or would not do. There's advice I'm willing to give or not give, I'll give the advice, but, I'm going to try and not to take too many chances with your roster. That's up to you. So I'll lay out the parameters there. And that's kind of where I'm at on this one. Want to play Elijah Mitchell? Would love to have a fallback option before I play Elijah Mitchell. So if you had like Jeff Wilson, that'd be ideal, right? Something like that. So Scott wants to know, what do I think of the Denver backfield with the possibility all three receivers are out, and do you think Fant is a good option for tight end? I think the passing volume, so Antonio, by the way, just news coming out just now, Antonio Gibson not activated, so he will not be playing this week. Didn't think he was, seemed like a long shot at best. So, not totally surprising. So Jarrett Patterson is in play, right? So I guess for me, Scott, I think it's been a run heavy offense anyway. It's a great matchup to run against the Los Angeles Chargers. This I'm told by Rex Burkhead. And the Chargers will be a little better. They're getting some pieces back from the COVID list on defense in particular that'll help them out. But they've been a pretty easy run, rushing matchup either way. So I'd expect a lot from those guys. Again, they're both questionable, as you know. I think Fant is an okay option. I don't think he rises greatly because of this. I just wonder if they won't go run heavier than they've already been because they love to go run heavy. So that'd be my concern there. And if you're wondering if who the wideouts, you need to like desperation plays, or if you're wondering it's going to be Kendall Hinton. Last time we saw him, he was playing quarterback against the Saints last year under COVID circumstances, so he moves in. Seth Williams, I expect to be activated from the practice squad or elevated from the practice squad. Deontay Spencer, basically a kick returner, but he can catch the football. And they'll probably elevate another player. Travis Fulgham's on the practice squad. They have another guy. It doesn't look great. So I'm all about the running backs. I think if you had a hunch on Fant, I don't think it's a horrible hunch. It's not been a great, the passing volume hasn't been great. And so that'd be my concern. Will he get more of it? Sure. Dominic Conti, I need upside this week at quarterback. Who has more? Taysom Hill versus Carolina, banged up defense. They're getting some pieces back. Or Huntley versus Rams defense. Well, I guess this concern would be, what if it's Lamar Jackson? So, it sounds like you're automatically – I go with Taysom Hill either way. Carolina got back Brian Burns, and I think they got their linebacker back, which is pretty big. Two pretty big pieces back today. But still, I'd rather play Taysom Hill. High floor to me. I'm just worried about that Rams defense, and Huntley coming off COVID, the possibility of Lamar Jackson plays, I'll avoid him. Dusty Hirsch wants to know if the Bears defense are a good start this week. I pick on quarterbacks, so yes. Short answer, yes. I don't know who. We don't really know who the starter is going to be. They said they're going to start the Giants. Both of them are horrible, or have been horrible. I don't expect that to change, Dusty. So I think the Bears is a good defense. They're kind of diminished, but getting players back as well. Hello, John LaBoo. John LaBoo. Did I say that right? Hey. Iron Eddie wants to know, Happy New Year, by the way, to you, Iron Eddie, and you, John Lobo. Half-point PPR, Pittman Jr. or OBJ? I'm probably playing OBJ. I'm not against Pittman, right? OBJ's just had a role. He's got some scoring equity. And it's that matchup that I'm eager to leverage. The Ravens, I don't see him stopping anybody, at least in the passing attack. And again, you think last week was big. Yes, so was the week before, and so was most every week. So, yeah, eager to play them. And that extends all the way down to Tyler Higbee. The Ravens haven't been able to stop tight ends either. So there you have that. Roger Wells, how are you? Elijah Mitchell or Darrell Williams, KC? I'd be fine playing Darrell Williams. You got the early kickoff. You don't have to contend with having a fallback option for Elijah Mitchell. I also think, especially in a PPR, Darrell Williams is really suitable. He's been very productive in games with Clyde Edwards-Helaire out. Also, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is out. That's a win for you. So not even making the trip. They did elevate Jerick McKinnon from the injured reserve. Don't expect him to play or be a huge factor. If he is, Derek Gore might be a factor, but this is the Darrell Williams show for the most part, at least in the rushing attack, the lead role. Rich needs 1 point PPR. Damian Harris or Michael Carter. The flex, he needs 1. Damian Harris, Michael Carter, Perriman, Pollard. I play the top 2 running backs. So play Harris and Carter, whichever direction you want to play them. Running back, he was a bit. I'm just checking the news as it comes pouring into my devices. And mostly it's about Antonio Gibson, and we already know that. Antonio Gibson not playing. Surprising development. All right, George. Hello. Half-point PPR. Michael Williams. So I'm going to say Mike Williams, Aaron St. Brown, Amon Ra St. Brown, Terry McLaurin, need 1, and Sonny Michel, Damian Harris, Ronald Jones, need 2 RBs. So I'd probably play in Damian Harris and Ronald Jones. You wouldn't complain if you wanted to play Michel over Damian Harris. Damian Harris could be facing, some workload shifted over to Ramondre Stevenson, but also he's playing the Jaguars. And as bad as the Ravens are against the pass, they're pretty good against the run. Also, I think the Rams are going to pass a lot. So that would be the inflection point there. Playing Ronald Jones like a madman, though, against the Jets defense that is notoriously the worst against fantasy running backs. Even with Jones not having a lot of receiving equity there, he doesn't seem to catch a lot of passes, but I think he can still get it done. So I like him in that order. Jones, and again, if you want to play Michel, I'm not against it. The volume's going to be there. There's no one to cut into his workload. It won't be Cam Akers this week, that's for sure. So, and I don't think it'll be Jake Funk either. So there you have it. Oh, on the wide receivers, I'd probably say play Amon-Ra St. Brown. It's a different quarterback. Tim Boyle is in at quarterback, but St. Brown had a great game with him. Mike Williams, not against him either. Terry McLaurin, I'm not totally against him. He's still the wide receiver 1. They're just not using that, it's not been great this year, right? You just got to acknowledge that. So, and by the way, Amon-Ra St. Brown, the offensive rookie of the year in the month for the NFL for the month of December for a damn good reason. He's been very busy. If you haven't read it yet, go to my DFS 3 and Out column. You'll find a lot more on Amon-Ra St. Brown right there, and also on Matt Stafford, which will help you out with the passing attack of the Rams. Graham, happy New Year, Bob, and thanks for doing this, and thank you for coming, Graham. Appreciate it. By the way, hit the like button if you like what's going on here. Also, subscribe to this damn channel. Subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, and hit the notification thing if you can. Also, go to the website, footballdiehards.com. We do a lot of good work there. We have a lot of good staffers and a lot of good technology. Emil Kadlik has outdone himself this year in all the associated bits and statistical tools, the optimizers, etc. is all fantastic. So check it out, footballdiehards.com. All right. So Graham wants to know. Sorry, Graham, to make you wait. Need 1 from Tyler Boyd, Mike Evans, Gabriel Davis, Rashad Perriman. How much can you trust Evans if he plays? Perriman worthy is yes. Perriman's worthy if Evans and Brown are out, right? I think he might be worthy either way. I mean, I don't know if the Cyril Grayson, level of trust I have in him is not high. Tyler Johnson could have a big week. Any of these guys could have a big week. As Jamie Calandra would tell you from here on the site, our DFS analyst, Cameron Brake gets a hell of a lot of red zone targets as well. So something to watch. I'd probably play Tyler Boyd in this case. I think the role is there. If the trend is your friend, he has been trending in a good direction. That whole passing attack has. Look, ideally, they want to run the ball a little more. But they're more than capable of making plays no matter what the game plan is. So I'm going to go ahead and play Tyler Boyd there. And I would be concerned, right? Inside, coming off the COVID, all has the hamstring. My guess is he won't play, but we'll see. JR1616, I see you. Happy New Year to you. I hope it's a great year for you. I hope it's a great year for all of us, damn it. All of us should benefit from something. Saquon Barkley or Michael Carter. Come on down, Michael Carter. Look, I don't like the matchup. I do like the anticipated volume. I don't think Tevin Coleman will be cleared. We'll know that. I mean, that isn't a deal breaker one way or the other for me. I think I would play him either way. But yeah, Michael Carter, don't expect last week, but expect a solid week of volume. And for Barkley, it's just a lousy, dysfunctional offense. They don't score a lot of points, right? That's a problem. Andrea's question is here. Let's get on that. Need 2 running backs, 1 wide receiver, 1 flex. That's a lot. Aaron Jones, Javonte Smith. Devonta Smith. Rashad Penny, Devin Singletary, Chase Edmonds, Darrell Williams, the wide receivers are Joe. Wow. That's a long list of and not very many places to fit. So my wide receiver is going to be A.J. Brown. I like a couple of those guys. My running back is going to be Javonte Smith. You mean Javonte Williams or Javonte Williams? I'm going to play Jones for sure. Like, I like all these guys, like, probably Chase Edmonds at the tail end of that group. I'd probably rank them Aaron Jones. But, I mean, and then if it's Javonte Williams, then I like Penny, Darrell Williams probably equally. I'll probably play so the two running backs, if it's Javonte Williams, it's going to be Jones and Williams. After that, I'd probably play Darrell Williams, slight lean over Penny because I think I'm expecting more offense in that game. As my flex, and A.J. Brown is my one receiver. That's tricky, Andrea. You got a lot of good players. You need to expand your starting lineups. Iron Eddie, let's see, half-point PPR. Need to bench one. Montgomery, Najee, Ronald Jones, Michelle, and Penny. I don't want to get too far in front of this. I mean, Sony Michel's been great. But I mean, I've laid it out. I'm not a fan of the matchup, but also just I'm a huge fan of the passing matchup, and he doesn't seem to have much role in the passing attack. So he might be the odd man out. Najee, you could make an argument for taking Najee out as well. I would have a hard time taking Montgomery or Jones out for sure, and Penny I'm with. So in my hierarchy, it'd be Michelle, Penny, then Najee that I would take out. John LaBou, full PPR, need 2 out of these running backs. Boston Scott, Rex Burkhead, Dario Ogunbowale, and these wide receivers. Need 2 of each. Tyler Boyd, Gabriel Davis. 2 of all of them. The volume. Love the volume. There's something we talk about on the SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio. The laws of flexology. There's really only one. It's feature back over a wide receiver every time. And by feature back, I mean a guy getting a featured role. I mean, those players are different than they used to be. Has been cleared. So Cortland Sutton will play. So that's good news. Cortland Sutton had been questionable with an illness. And the expectation was he would go on the COVID. See if I'm unfrozen now. Yes, I appear to be unfreezing. There we go. So in case you missed all that, there was all kinds of excitement here because Cortland Sutton has been cleared to travel. The thought was he would go on the COVID list. He did not. So he is cleared to travel, and that makes him an interesting play to me. And I mentioned this, Scott, I wasn't enthusiastic about Fant. I mean, I'm not like against him. I'm just not against it. I'm not for the level of volume they're getting in that passing attack, but I would be interested in Cortland Sutton with no other receivers none of the others, with Jerry Jeudy and Tim Patrick out. So there we have that. Anyway, back to you. I know John LeBeau's going, answer the damn question. I'm buying time here because I do like the volume. So if we knew Jordan Howard was out early, that'd make a super easy decision, right? I'm just double checking my kickoff times. Making sure I know what the hell I'm talking about because sometimes I don't. Yeah, so you'll know Jordan Howard or not. So if there is a Jordan Howard, I might dial back a little bit on Boston Scott. If there is no Jordan Howard, Boston Scott is definitely first man on my list. And then it'd probably be Rex Burkhead. I don't have great hopes for the Jaguars this week. So ideally Boston Scott and Rex Burkhead. If Howard is back and you're leery of playing a Boston Scott, you should remain leery of playing Dario Ogunbowale. And you should play probably Tyler Boyd would be for me in that case. All right. That took a long time to get through that. It was because news came in and my thing froze up. That's why it took a long time. Appreciate your patience, everybody. It's a new year, but not all the technology acting like it's new. All right, Michael Gangi. Name butcher. That's my other name. Bob Harris. Name butcher. Full PPR, need 2. Brandon Ayuk, Rashad Bateman, Gabriel Davis, Jarrett Patterson. Now that we know for sure there's no Antonio Gibson, I would probably go ahead and play Jarrett Patterson as the first piece of that puzzle. And I kind of like Ayuk as the second piece of that puzzle. Even with Trey Lance coming in, I'd probably still go there. I wouldn't blame you if you felt more comfortable with Gabriel Davis coming off the COVID. Bateman, I don't know what the quarterback situation is going to be. Not keen on the matchup. Blech. Fallback for Elijah Mitchell is Burkhead. I think that's a great fallback, though, Will. I mean, I think if you had to have if you were looking for a fallback, I think that's kind of an ideal guy. Why? Because what do we chase? Volume here. We chase the volume. Rex Burkhead gets the volume. David Johnson, by the way, remains on the reserve COVID list. And, Royce Freeman is there. I get it. So there are pieces that could cut into, but no one's been cutting into Rex Burkhead's workload. It's Rex Burkload's moment, people. He's doing well. So I wouldn't be averse to that if that was the fallback option. Are we fairly confident, John LeBeau wants to know, that AB will be a go if he's active? Define fairly. No, relatively confident. I mean, we saw this kind of last week. It kind of, they kind of took him out of the practice field to keep him ready to go. My guess is that's the same, but I'm not entirely, I'm going to have to watch, right? So I think we're going to have to watch and see how it goes. What we heard was that he tweaked the ankle. And so, they're probably not going to tell us how bad of a tweak that is. So yeah, I'm confident I would play him if he's active. I mean, I don't think they would play him unless they felt like he could get something done. So I would play him if he's active because I want to play somebody in that matchup. By golly. Happy New Year's and thank you. Thank you for coming, John. I appreciate it. JR, need one in the Superflex spot. Huntley, Dalton, or Locke. Wow. I would probably default to the Baltimore guy. I mean, Dalton has a great matchup. I'm really leery of the Ravens quarterback situation. Maybe the decision is made for you. And it's Lamar Jackson, but you probably still see, I think, Huntley at some point either way. I'd probably, to me, and maybe I'm crazy because this sounds crazy even as I say the words, Dalton seems like the safe play, given the matchup. So maybe that's the determining factor. Are you swinging for the fence or are you playing it safe? Huntley, if you're swinging, if he plays. Dalton, if not. That Baltimore game is early afternoon. Yeah, it's an early game, so you're fine. All right, we're figuring it out. This is how we do it. We talk through the situations and we figure it out, or not. We try to figure it out. Scott needs 2 of the following at the flex: Boston Scott, AJ Green, Russell Gage, Mike Evans. Boston Scott if there is no Howard, maybe even Boston Scott if there is a Howard. Like if Mike Evans was active, I'd be tempted to play him. If not, I might go to the rankings on this one and just get a feel. I like what Gage's workload's been, right? He's been more or less productive with it. Green is kind of seems like he's fallen behind Kirk a little bit. I mean, I suppose that could change from game to game. I'm looking. Bear with me. Hang tight. I mean, I'm not keen on the matchup. That's the problem, right? Don't like the Buffalo matchup. I've got to make a decision here, don't I? So I'm going to go Boston Scott and if Mike Evans is active, I'd probably go that direction. If not, I'd probably turn to Russell Gage. All right, Martin. PPR, need 2 flex. Deontay Foreman, Dario Ogunbowale, Van Jefferson, or Jarrett Patterson. Probably start with Patterson and Foreman would be my guys. I love Van Jefferson, just one of 3. I do think Foreman gets enough of the workload that I feel pretty comfortable with him. Well, easier to run against Miami than it is to throw. And Patterson, I think, gets a pretty good workload. All right, Dominic, who do you think is the best pickup off my waiver wire? Full PPR, Patterson, Scott, or Burkhead? If we knew for sure, I wouldn't play either of them. Any of those, I wouldn't play any of them over Penny, and probably not over Gordon. But Gordon's maybe a little consideration, and maybe the questionable designation is a concern. But Gordon's playing in the late afternoon. Both those guys are playing, I think. Gordon's playing in the late afternoon window. So is Burkhead. So, you would want to set up your fallback for, someone who's playing in the late afternoon window so you could have that pivot if Gordon doesn't play. But Patterson, Scott, or Burkhead. So, I kind of like them in that order, but part of it is dependent on Howard to me. So, if we're independent of Howard, Patterson seems to have a clear path to workload. Burkhead definitely has a clear path to workload. So, probably either of those are better than Scott going in based on that. Mike wants to know, since Wentz is starting, do I start Wentz versus Tennessee or Burrows versus KC? I'm starting Burrows either way, and we don't know for sure. And Wentz is playing against Las Vegas, by the way. So, but we don't know that he's starting, and you won't until tomorrow. But I'm playing Burrows either way. It's a huge over-under. I'm all aboard that. Hello, Sincere Taylor. A happy New Year to you. Dak was great last week. Should I think hard to play Dak this week or play Trey Lance this week in my standard league championship? I'm probably sticking with Dak. I get it with Lance. I thought, there's some rushing equity there. Last time he played, it was 90 yards of rushing. So, it's not for nothing. And I'm sure he has gotten better as he's worked away. He's still a rookie. Dak Prescott is still a very good player, a veteran in command of an offense. He seems to have broken the slump. So I'm gonna go with Dak. For me, it's an easy call. Martin, one more. PPR, need 2 flex. Foreman, Davis, Ogunbowale, Dillon, or Patterson. I'm probably gonna again play the workloads, and it's probably, to me, Patterson and Foreman. I wouldn't talk you out of Dillon. I think Dillon and Foreman, kind of pretty reasonably easy. I don't want to play Ogunbowale. I don't want to play any Jaguars that I don't have to play. Long into those kind of plays this week, even in a great matchup. And also, there's like a lot of mouths to feed in that passing attack. So that's a little bit of an issue as well. Full PPR, says Dominic Conti. Who do you like better off the waiver wire? Deontay Harris? I don't think Deontay Harris is cleared from. Is he? I don't think he's back from suspension yet. Also, he's on the COVID list. I don't know that he's back from there. Either way, I would go ahead and take Berrios. Don't think I'd play either of them over the guys you have, although Hollywood Brown is questionable and hasn't been fantastic, but he's been heavily targeted at times. So I think Kyler's fine in season long this week. He's in my DFS 3 and out column. He's the out because, the Cardinals have not been playing well. The Dallas Cowboys have a great pass rush. They have a great pass defense. They got a lot of things that don't work in his favor. So I'm not keen on paying up for him in DFS, but I don't think I would, wouldn't keep me from playing him in season long. DST role, Roger Wells. Not sure what that means. Wendy, clarify, Roger, because I'm not very bright, or I don't think well on my feet or quickly. Hill or Huntley? I'd play Taysom Hill. I need running backs out of 3. Let's see. I need a sip of coffee. All right. Cordero Patterson, Josh Jacobs, Ronald Jones. I do like Ronald Jones better than I like the other 2. I probably like Patterson slightly better than Josh Jacobs. But honestly, Josh Jacobs is going to get more volume. I just don't like the matchup at all. I'm not keen on Cordero Patterson's back matchup either. So I don't think either of those guys are ideal, but I'd take Patterson slightly over Jacobs. And maybe it depends on what you need, Special K, right? Here's something we talk about a lot of times. Is, what's your situation? What's your opponent's lineup look like? Do you need a swing for the fence play? That to me would be Patterson. Do you need just a floor play, a guy that's not going to get you a zero, a guy who's going to get enough work that you feel really good about it, even if you don't feel good about the production that comes from it? Like you're just trying to avoid the potential zero or the potential shutout. I'd say Jacobs is that guy, but Patterson's the upside guy. Do I like Chicago or Philadelphia as your defenses? I like both of them just fine. It's easy to pick on quarterbacks. That's why I go, because we don't get too deep into scoring systems, etc. You have playmaking threats, and going up against quarterbacks that are not well suited to playing NFL or at the starting level of the NFL, I'd probably go with Chicago. I'm not averse to playing Philadelphia. Fines. All right. I say fines because I'm getting notifications about all the fines. There's certain kinds of information that comes out at various times throughout the day from the league. And so when that happens, my watch and my phone and my computer all blow up at the same time. Boom, 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 boom. All right. So, yeah, Chicago is fine with me. Roll with, there you go, Roger Wells. I see you now. Roll with Miami versus Tennessee, or San Francisco versus Houston, or Chicago versus Giants. I'm keen on Chicago versus Giants. I'm picking on the quarterbacks again, as always. I think it's fair to say Chicago has a little bit of an edge. I think Houston's been playing a little better than we want to give them credit for. We remember we don't tend to give things credit for evolving, at least NFL teams or units or pieces. Davis Mills is playing better. He's not the turnover machine he was earlier in the season, so I'm not as eager to pick on him as I would have been earlier. I'd be fine rolling with Miami's defense any game, and I don't think this game's any different. So if you like them as well, go with that. Chicago versus Giants is the team I want to pick on. The Giants. All right. Hello, Doom Patrol. Welcome to how are you, man? You're welcome, Andrea. Thanks for coming. George. And I'm glad you saw me, George. I'm glad you saw this because I saw you on Twitter. So here's the thing, everybody. Bandwidth. It's all about the bandwidth. I'll get to the questions. So, I used to answer Twitter questions religiously. Y'all ask a lot of questions on Twitter. Not you all, but y'all, the big y'all. And it just gets to be, I could spend 8 hours on Twitter and not answer all the questions. And if I answer one question, I get 100 more from the same person or people who see that I'm answering questions. And it's just an endless thing. This way I can set aside an hour. I can answer a lot of questions. So, George, wasn't ignoring you on Twitter. Just can't get the time free to work on Twitter. So there you go. Would I start Huntley over Burrow? I would not. I've outlined the reason why. Number one, don't know for sure that Huntley's starting. If he was starting, you would know it, right? But I like the over-under. The over-under in the KC game is like 49.5 or 48.5 or something. I'm going to play that, and I worry about, just worry about the matchup beyond all the other issues that are going on for Huntley, which is Lamar Jackson might play, which is Huntley's coming off the COVID list. Said he didn't feel that great. Said it was a little bit of an issue with his breathing, etc. I mean, it's not like I said on the NFL radio a little earlier. He's not running go routes. They don't have to pull him off after that. But, make a long run, might, get a little winded. And when guys like Aaron Donald are chasing you, you don't want to be winded. There you have it. Hi, Wendy. Happy New Year to you as well. Thank you very much. Graham would like to know. So there you have it, George. Thank you for coming. And I'm glad you saw that I was doing this and weren't waiting around on Twitter, where I never would have gotten to your question, honestly. Graham, Flex, Javonte or Damian Harris, PPR in a PPR. I think Javonte has a little more PPR equity. I'm not sure I want. So I like Harris kind of irrationally for the obvious reason. I stick with the Harrises. Birds of a feather flock together. I would probably. So we rank them. I think 16 Williams, 16 Harris, 18. So you could take your choice there. But, but if you're putting me to the screws to me here, I would say Javonte Williams slightly. And also love his matchup against the Chargers. Also not against Jackson. Against Jacksonville. COVID. All right. So there you go. Also, even though Dallas is number 1D, is Green Bay versus Minnesota a better matchup? You're looking for the Dallas D against Arizona. I see what you're saying. Maybe. I'm not against that. Again, picking on the quarterback, Sean Mannion. They say he's very smart. They don't say how he throws the ball much, and that probably tells you something. But he will try to throw the ball. I'm probably sticking with Dallas just because I like the disruptive playmaking force that is Micah Parsons. I like the disruptive playmaking force that is Trayvon Diggs. So there's a lot of pieces there that I like. And I'm selling the other pass rushers there short, and I should not because they're all capable of putting up big numbers. So, I get it. Arizona, I think, is a better opponent than Minnesota, but I'm still playing Dallas. So I think A.J. Brown on a pitch count was calf injury. I have heard that's not the case. I heard he practiced fully Friday and that the day off Thursday was purely precautionary. And I think that's something we see them do a lot with him. Give him the day off. I mean, DK Metcalf gets at least a day off every week with a foot injury, and he's never on a pitch count. Yeah, I think this is a similar case to that based on what we're hearing, Andrea. So for me, not a concern. Freiermuth, Komet, Higbee, Everett, or Moreau. Probably want to play Freiermuth. I think I'm fine playing him, and he is not on the injury report today, by the way. He's totally cleared from the concussion protocol. But I do think Tyler Higbee is also in a good spot as well. I've mentioned this passing attack for the Rams going against the Baltimore defense. It's not very good at stopping the pass and has all season long been unable to stop the tight end. My concern with him is there's, a lot of other pieces in that passing attack that play pretty well too, starting with Cooper Kupp. So I'm probably leaning Freiermuth on this one, but Higbee's a close second. Not against any of the other ones either. Please pick two, JR says. Look at George going, getting a lot of questions down. Appreciate you, George. Please pick two in a half-point PPR. Zeke, Sony, Singletary. I'll take the first two. I like Singletary. Don't get me wrong. It's a great matchup, too. So if you had a hunch, him over Sony, I'd be fine with that. Zeke seems to be getting better, feeling better, health-wise. Wow, Ivan. Happy New Year to you as well. I'm pretty sure I still have Mayfield ranked ahead of Davis Mills because I think that looks at the entirety of the season. Actually, we don't. So I'm not surprised by it. My hunch is Mills. I think Mills has been playing reasonably well for the last 3 games. It's been pretty good. He's got some good weapons. So I'm not totally shocked by this. Mayfield, he's not playing great. They're not running the ball. They're running the ball, run first offense. TJ Watt's going to be all over him, supposing he's healthy and seems to be. I'm probably going to play Davis Mills here. Right. Sorry, Baker Mayfield. Hex, Happy New Year to you too. How do I feel about Justin Jefferson? So we've been having a bunch of this talk today. About, are we worried about Justin Jefferson playing with Sean Mannion? Yes, we are. Right. So, I would not. So I'd be fine if I had options like Jamar Chase, Debo, or DeAndre Swift. I'd be fine playing them. Right. So there comes a time where Justin Jefferson is great. He's one of the best players at his position in the NFL. Clearly, he's not under the same circumstance. He's not playing under the circumstances that made him one of the best in the NFL, although he would tell you they aren't ideal circumstances. So probably I hate to outsmart myself this time of year, but those are all high-end enough plays that I would probably play them. Need 2 out of these: McLaurin, Mooney, Penny, Kirk, Pollard. And Happy New Year, Joseph. I appreciate you showing up. We appreciate everyone showing up all the time, every week. Been a really good time doing this, and hopefully I'm going to keep doing this over the off season. We'll have some times to get together and do this same kind of thing and kind of dig deep on things. Love to spend a little time looking at some of the more in-depth situations. So with that said, I use that as a stalling tactic because I don't know which 2 of those I want to play. No, I'll figure it out. I want to play Rashad Penny. And after that, probably, I don't want to get too far, so you get these things in your mind where I don't want to play a guy. I don't want to play Terry McLaurin. I really don't. I don't like him. I don't like the matchup this week for Washington. I don't like the way Washington is playing. I'd probably still play him slightly over Mooney. If you had the same feeling or the same kind of leaning inclination that I have that you don't necessarily need to play that guy. I mean, Christian Kirk might be the guy to play here now that I'm revising it. Maybe even Pollard. Okay, so now that I've decided, Penny, Kirk, McLaurin, Mooney, and like Pollard's right in the mix there, right? So wouldn't be against him if you wanted to play him as your second flex either. But that's the order I like the receivers in. Also, Hurts or Wilson, a quarterback. I'm playing Hurts. Ha! There was one I could answer without equivocation, without threading the needle. Cooks or a Hunter Renfrow. I'm going to play Brandon Cooks this week. Don't like the matchup as much for Renfrow or the Raiders this week. Hello, Scott Kobe, Braxton Berrios, or Josh Palmer, and are you downgrading Justin Jefferson with Cousins out? I mean, downgrading is a funny thing. I mean, yeah, more like opening up the window to other options is maybe open a little wider because it's never open, right? So that it's open at all is open a little wider. So yeah, I guess that's a downgrade. I mean, I'm still expecting he's still a good player and he's still capable of getting the job done. It's just not as ideal a circumstance as I'd like, and I don't always get that. So what it comes down to, Scott, is what are my options? What's available to me? What can I pivot to that's going to make me feel more comfortable? And that list of players is the previous question. The Jamar Chase. Okay, I mean, some of the choices that we saw in that question were pretty reasonable. So yeah, I think that's where the rubber meets the road for me. Is I'm downgrading him. Not so much downgrading as just opening the window and opening my mind to a broader range of possible options. Hey, John Baloo. Yes, thank you. Thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it. Appreciate everyone taking the time here. I mean, you guys have been doing this all year, and it's been great fun. It helps me, think through situations that I might not otherwise have thought of, and I hope it helps you. And that's the thing. And I knew that, Roger, the DST part. Just the first time it was the first one where you left everything else off. Sincere Taylor says, thanks for squaring away my slight quarterback conundrum, but one more, if I may, and you may, would be the better option, Knox or Ertz. So, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll pick one and stick with them. I like Knox an awful lot. I think Knox has a fine matchup against the Atlanta Falcons. I like Zach Ertz a lot this week. There is no doubt about it. So, if I'm going with my rankings as Zach Ertz, I'm fine playing him. I'm fine playing Dawson Knox any week, though. So, and I don't think this is a daunting matchup. Knox is a top 5 play. He's kind of moving into that territory where, I'm starting him every week no matter what. But in this case, Ertz is a really good option. I'd probably play him. Hello, Tabasco Pelican. Happy New Year. My thoughts on Swift are, I don't think Dan Campbell does not strike me as a guy who's out there saying things that he does not mean. He says he's going to, turn him loose, unleash him. They want to see what he's got. They think the next 2 games are important for them, even though they're out of contention for anything and all that. And I kind of believe Dan Campbell because I don't think he's been lying to me all along. Other than I've seen 0 kneecaps actually bitten. Very disappointing. Would have looking for the kneecap biting, but I got his point. So I'm taking him at his word. And I think Swift is a reasonable play. If you need one out of the rest of those, St. Brown would be maybe Devonta Smith, because for the reason you said. And maybe, DeAndre Swift is enough of an asset in the receiving game that he is somewhat a limiting factor on St. Brown. That's not like, not where I'm not like planting a flag on that, but it's, within the range of possible outcomes there. So, yeah, I'd probably play Devonta Smith, though, as the wide receiver there. Either way. Assuming I'm playing Swift. If I'm not playing Swift, then, I could play him on Ross St. Brown. But, as we're kind of sorting through, if we're, splitting hairs here also, Tim Boyle was great, last time he played with St. Brown, but Tim Boyle is probably not great, generally speaking. Win the big money, Tabasco. Hello, Tim Trama. Happy New Year. Half-point PPR. Need a wide receiver from these 2, Jarvis Landry, Tyler Boyd. Boyd for me, please. Even if it wasn't Burrow, but with Burrow, makes it a little better. Aaron Renz, PPR, pick 1 for the flex. So I like, these are all great plays. I would, if you could find a way to get them all in your lineup, right? But I know we can't because that's not how this works. But it's very irritating when we, and this is what happens every year in fantasy. There are running backs that emerge that, no one had any expectations for. So you can have a case where you could have three guys that might be capable of putting up wide running back one numbers this week, and you got to pick through them. So, I like the matchups for Javonte Williams and Penny an awful lot. Darrell Williams has been super productive in games where there is no Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He's an asset in the passing attack, although so is Javonte Williams. So Penny's got a great match. I'm going to turn to the rankings to see if it thinks differently than me. Penny 15, Williams 16. Yep. So Darrell Williams is the first pick for me. It goes Williams, Penny, and then Javonte Williams. Thanks, Roger Wells. I seem like a great guy. It's an illusion. Obviously, I'm not. Just kidding. Appreciate you coming, Roger, and glad you could spend a little time. And hope you found it useful. And we do this every week. Most times it's at what time is it usually? Noon Eastern time. The radio schedule has been shaken up. I think next week I'm going to do it again. Maybe we focus a little more on DFS because most people will be done playing. But either way, I'll be doing it again, and I don't know what my radio schedule is, so it might be a weird time again. But on the whole, it's been at noon Eastern time. We do it every week, Roger, and love having you show up as often as you want. So Deontay Harris. Maybe just check back with me. So, was it 3 games? It was 3-game suspension. Oh my gosh. That's a lot of moving pieces for one player, Dominic, isn't it? Changing the name too. Oy. Look, I'm not eager to play. I know he was a leading receiver on that team. There just wasn't a lot of meat on the bone there, right? Either way. So probably not forcing him in the lineup. So remind me of what your options were so I don't have to scroll all the way back up the chat and see. And thank you, George. Appreciate you coming. Non-PPR, pick one for flex, Patterson, Cooks, or OBJ. So non-PPR, I'm probably going to go with Patterson for the workload. Thank you, Joseph. Appreciate it. Thank you, Aaron. Appreciate it. Happy New Year to you. Ertz or Pitts in a PPR. So, again, not against Pitts at all. I think he's been fantastic. Very enjoyable. Also, doesn't score a lot of touchdowns. Also, going against the Buffalo defense that's really good against tight ends. Probably not going to go with him. I'll go with Ertz. Dalton, Schultz, or Kyle Pitts. I'm going with I think I'm going with Schultz over him. Let me just double check the rankings. I'm not against Pitts, everybody. Everyone thinks I hate Pitts. I don't hate Kyle Pitts. So we rank him 8 and 9. Schultz over Pitts slightly. So when we rank someone, and when I tell you someone's ranked 8th and 9, our algorithm is taking a look at it based on the matchup and the production to date and the roles, etc. Is something worth watching, right? But to pretend that we have the granularity to say 8 and 9, they're both in the same tier. So this could be a little bit your own personal, hunch could go into this. Pitts is closing in on some milestones. Obviously been good. My concern is he has 1 touchdown all year. Dalton Schultz, I'm a little worried about the role, right? There's other receivers there. There's 3 really good receivers, wide receivers, actually 4 if you count Cedric Wilson, even if he doesn't have a huge role. And then Tony Pollard's a viable option, right? And for Atlanta, it's a narrower band, but that doesn't necessarily work in Pitt's favor, right? Because the defense can focus on him. So that's where we're at. Schultz 8, Pitts 9. I don't think you have a wrong answer here. I do. So I'm trying to remember where I'm in. So I think most of the teams where I'm in the running for titles are now best ball teams. So I am in the running for championships, but I don't have to set the lineups. I think all the teams where I'm setting lineups, I'm out of championships. I'm in some consolation brackets. This is where I think I'm at. Saints versus Panthers or Bills versus Falcons. I'd probably play the Bills. Well, I like the Saints an awful lot too. Oh, and a Sam Darnold back. Okay, revision. Saints for me, Aaron. Also, yeah, probably keeping the 3 as is. I mean, Hollywood Brown would be the one because he's questionable and it's a tough, super tough matchup. I know Parker didn't do a damn thing last week, so I get it. I get the concern. I think that's kind of an outlier to me. So I'm probably standing pat, but if you want to pick up Harris, and then if Hollywood Brown is out in the early round of kickoffs, there's that's like a viable pivot for you. So just Taysom Hill hasn't been the best of downfield throwers. All right, everybody, I got a few more minutes here before I have to go write some updates about some players that we talked about. Cortland Sutton would be one of them. Antonio Gibson would be the other, in case you missed it. Sutton is making the trip. Cleared, did not go on the COVID list, so good news for him. The talk was he could join Tim Patrick and Jerry Jeudy, both of whom are on the COVID list. So Cortland Sutton is in play here, and Antonio Gibson. He was a long shot to get activated, is what the reporting was locally. So not surprised. Jarrett Patterson. So that's what kind of everyone on the local front is expecting, that they get a look at Patterson. I know they have another asset there. So that's a concern, right? Jonathan Williams was a little busier last week when Gibson was in until they pulled him out. So, but I think Patterson is the one the local observers expect to get the bulk of the workload. So that's kind of what we're working off of, is what the expectation is. Why wouldn't you want to get a look at the guy that you have there? I think Jonathan Williams has had a long look. Maybe they like him a little better than I do, or a little better than I think. Thank you for coming, Dominic. Again, go to this website. It's called footballdiehards.com. We have things there about fantasy football, all kinds of great things, including tons of statistical and various information, the ease of schedule, lineup optimizers, stats, red zone, targets, points against, everything you could possibly need, and tons of great content from the likes of John Laub, the scholar, who, if you tune into Fantasy Sports Radio here in about an hour and 10 minutes, John will be on 2-hour episode of Football Diehards on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio. Laub will be on the second hour taking your questions. And we'll be doing a lot of calls. So if we you want to run it through with a phone call, give us a call. Dempsey and I will be taking a lot of calls over that 2 hours because it's a big week, right? And so check out the website. Laub, myself, Jamie Calandro, Justin Lanero, Jason Brady. The early week stuff has been phenomenal all year with Evan Tarciano, Joe Colana, Matthew Sharon. And don't forget about Reginald James, the Commish HQ column. I mean, I'm not a commissioner. I love it. I read the column every week. He's very entertaining. Good stuff anyway, whether you're a commissioner or not. And also raises some points that maybe you want to raise with your commissioner. Like, hey, let's do this rules change. This is a pretty damn good idea. And Reginald James is really entertaining with that. So there you have it. Tons of good stuff. Don't miss out. Check our pregame videos. Got 2 of them tomorrow. The Line of Scrimmage Cash Game Show with John Laub and Emil Cadlick. And then the regular pregame video with Jamie and Jason. Really good stuff there. They'll go over ownership percentages, also available on the site as well. And Casey Joyner's sit-start injury report will be waiting for you. The Sunday update will be there tomorrow morning. The Saturday update is there now. So check it all out and get some for yourself and win a championship this week. Appreciate everyone coming. We will, I'll put this out. I'll probably do this again next week, maybe around the same time, maybe not. I don't know what my radio schedule is, but as soon as I sort it out, watch my Twitter timeline and we'll put it out there. Thanks, everybody. Have a good weekend and good luck in your all-important title games.